Welcome to the third class in this exploration of the ideas contained in Patanjali's sutras of Sthira and Sukha. So Sthira, as you will remember, means steadiness, sturdiness, strength, and Sukha means softness and ease. And tonight I'm going to interpret that also as adaptability. It's the wonderful thing about a text written in Sanskrit. There's lots of options for interpretation, and actually that gives the text much more richness than it would otherwise have. So tonight we'll look at Sthira and Sukha in the body, in the physical body during our practice, and we'll do that a little bit by exaggerating one side, the steadiness, the strength, and then exaggerating the ease, and then trying to find the middle way, the balance that is just right for us. Too much Sukha, as I've said before, you get a little bit tired, kind of tamasic in the yoga language, feeling a little bit heavy and lethargic, and too much Sthira, too much strength, energy and drive, and then the body becomes tense. So finding that ideal mix between the two for you, and we'll do that through breath as well as through posture. So we'll start with a little bit of breathing. If you'd like to just sit comfortably with the spine upright, and as usual, that doesn't matter whether you are on a chair or on a mat. Welcome, Stephen and Gavin. You don't, by the way, for those who are new, you don't necessarily need your camera on. It's not a class where I'm going to be watching you closely. It's just impossible to do. So rather than that, the instructions are going to be very simple, but hopefully you'll still get as much stretch and yoga practice as you need. So we're just pausing for a moment. If you're comfortable closing the eyes, then close the eyes, or just have a nice soft downcast gaze towards the floor. And take a moment, maybe the first moment of today for some of us, if you've had a busy day, to really notice, to be mindful of exactly how you feel. Noticing your body, the points of contact to the chair, to the floor, to the earth. The sensations in your body, which may be a little bit of tension, or it may be a lot of softness, or it may already be something in between. And as always, as with every single week of our yoga classes, and I hope every time you practice yourself, you're just noticing things rather than analyzing or judging them. And if you're looking after any particular part of your body, just bring that into your awareness and make sure that you don't do anything in your practice that causes any significant discomfort. A little bit of a pull and a stretch, and some of the Sthira stretches is absolutely fine. And then begin to shift your focus from the body to the breath, breathing in and out through the nose, unless the nose is blocked. And find a nice steady rhythm. Just thinking about an even breath in and an even breath out. And noticing any disturbance in the breath, and trying to move forward so that you're beginning to move towards smoothness and flow, and away from unevenness. And a really interesting thing to do is to just sit with your own breath on a piece of paper and to draw your inhale and exhale. And if you look in some of the yoga books, what we're really looking for is a lovely curve, not too deep, so fairly light breathing, but really smooth with the exhale just a little bit longer. So it's a slightly elongated, undulating curve at the bottom, and then a slightly less long curve at the top. That's the wrong language, but I think you know what I mean. Rather than anything that represents any kind of jagged points, so there's no sudden starting and stopping of inhale, the transition between inhale and exhale becoming very smooth. Maybe just try that, drawing out your breath in your own practice at some point, and also timing the breath and then counting how many curves you've drawn. And then we're going to work out just a little bit on a Sthira type breath practice, which will wake us up a little bit. We're going to have two ways of doing this, because I'm conscious, because of the timing of this class, some of you may have recently eaten, or you may have a medical or other reason not to really strongly pull in the tummy muscles. So if that's you, you're going to do a much more controlled exhale, where you're just going to feel like you're drawing the abdomen back during the out breath, and then really relaxing it on inhale. So the exhale is going to be our Sthira, because we're going to engage those tummy muscles. And if your tummy is empty, got no reason why you can't work this area quite strongly, then you're going to do quite a rhythmic exhale. And then you're going to really relax the tummy as you breathe in. So unusually, the exhale is going to be quite a bit shorter than the inhale. Normally we'd be looking for the other way around. So let's just come into that. It's very, very helpful to have the hands on the abdomen, just in front of the navel. So remember, the gentle version is inhale softly, soft abdomen, feel the hands moving away from the body as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, draw the tummy muscles in to strengthen the abdominal area, the core of the body, and assist a slightly deeper, longer exhale than would normally happen. Inhale, really soften, really relax the abdomen. Let it go as much as you can. And if you're working more strongly, soft inhale. You're doing quite deep breaths as you do this. So start to feel at all lightheaded, just take a break, or slightly shorten the inhale phase. If you're okay to carry on, we'll do 3 or 4 more. And then the next exhale, make that the last one. And then inhale, allow the tummy to soften. Just rest the hands back on the thighs for a moment. Eyes closed again if you're comfortable. Just take a moment to notice any effects of that practice. We weren't going for long. If you were able to sustain that for 5 minutes, it would be a really good workout for the core of the body. And because you're working on exhale and really gathering in and drawing up, the pelvic floor is activated as well. And you will have some residual benefit there in terms of those muscles supporting posture. So these are groups of muscles we really want to keep firing and engaged and toned, particularly if you're doing a lot of sitting around. Okay, and just before we begin our breath and movement, we're just going to tune into a Sukha breath. So keeping the abdomen soft as you breathe in. If you want to place one palm on the abdomen As you breathe in, feel like you're breathing low, but not too deeply. So quite a light breath, but breathing down into the belly, feeling the hand moving out slightly as you breathe in. And as you exhale softly, it's going to move back in with just a little bit. But now you're not pulling in the tummy muscles, you're just allowing this lovely low abdominal breath. And for those who were here for the second class last week, remember we were trying to cultivate this breath, which was just enough to nourish the body, but not too deep. If we're just sitting around doing great big breaths, we're over-ventilating. We are depleting the CO2 levels in the blood. We're making it harder for the oxygen in the blood to be given over at a cellular level to the cells. That only really works optimally when the balance of CO2 and oxygen is exactly right. So we don't want to overbreathe. And at the end of the next exhale, again, just check in with how you feel. Should be a very calming, centering breath when we breathe lightly. Again, these techniques are something you could take into your own practice and do for a slightly longer period than I have time to teach you in this class. And then we're going to come into our breath and movement. So we're going to try and find a middle way between those two breaths. So as we breathe in, we're going to be filling the abdomen with breath. That's a diaphragmatic breath, but also using a little bit of our chest muscles as we expand to a slightly fuller breath. And then as we exhale and bring the palms together, we're just allowing that exhale to die into the softness of our idea of ease, softness of Sukha. And this movement can be as slow and meditative as you like, if that's what you need. And if you really need to stretch and breathe and get your body moving, then begin to explore the boundaries of this practice until you're finding a balance of Sthira and Sukha, of steadiness and ease, of strength and release. That is absolutely what you need. So not overdoing it, tensing the body, but you can expand and stretch out the arms, and you can exhale and really find the softness in the shoulders. And we do this practice every week at the beginning of the class, and it never gets boring, at least to me, because it's just such a beautiful representation of the breath with the arms, and it helps us perfectly coordinate the arms to the breath, and it's that way around. Let the arms reflect your breath and reflect your best breath. And let's just do one more of these. And then give the arms a shake, let the shoulders hang down. Maybe give the shoulders a little shrug. So remember, you're trying to find your ideal mix between effort, the Sthira, and the softness, the ease to release tension. So just keep checking in on the body. Notice the sensation. Where is that sweet spot in each of the practices where you are finding that balance, that mix in your own body? So palms are facing up, and we're breathing in to float the arms up. We'll start gently. Turning the palms is the smooth transition between inhale and exhale. Same at the end of the exhale and inhale. And then again, begin to explore where you need to be with this practice. Is your Sthira Sukha balance for where you are right now, maybe this stage of life, or just how you're feeling? Is it quite an easy practice? Or do you really need to find that length and stretch on the inhale? But be sure to find the softness on the out breath. My 5-year-old daughter is obsessed with Elsa from Frozen, and this is something she does when she has, if you know the film, when she has kind of liberated herself from having to hide her magical powers, and she literally does this and raises an ice castle from the ground up. So it's a powerful movement with additional meaning for some of us. If you haven't seen that film, it's not really for kids. It's just one of the greatest musical films ever made. It won an Oscar for the music. The music is incredible. So watch it for that, or just play yourself the soundtrack. On the end of the next exhale, let the arms hang, give the arms a shake, give the shoulders another shrug. And then we'll move on a little bit more briskly now. So we'll take the fingertips to the top of the shoulders, and we'll just find our comfortable range of movement in the shoulders. Try to inhale for half a circle as the elbows come forward and up, really lifting and expanding the chest, and then exhaling into your Sukha, softening breath as the elbows make their downward journey. And just once more. And then release the arms. Reach the left hand down, and you can grab the side of a chair if that's going to be helpful. Turn the palm outwards and then float the arm up. So if you've got anything going on with your shoulder, there's going to come a point as you take the arm up when the shoulder starts to rise. You don't want that to happen. Sometimes it's just a habit, and you can drop the shoulder down. It is possible to take the arm all the way up and keep the shoulder down if you have full range of movement here. If you don't worry about it. And then from here, this would be quite a soft stretch, just to exhale and lean over to the left and stretch the right side of the body. But again, we're going to hold this stretch. And if you need to increase the Sthira, add in a little more effort, try and get a little bit more out of this stretch on that physical level, if that's what you need, but without making your practice lose its intelligence and sensitivity. And then on an inhale, coming back up, turn the palm, exhale, lower, shrug the shoulders between sides, give the arms a shake, and then turn the left palm out, breathing in. Anywhere you come to is fine. If you just needed to come to here, that would be fine too. So we are exhaling into a side stretch for the left side of the body, and we're just making that stretch the right blend of steadiness and ease, keeping the breath flowing in a nice, easy rhythm in and out through the nose as we practice. And then on the next inhale, coming up, turn the palm, exhale, release down, give the shoulders a lift and roll, give the arms a shake. So just 2 more in the chair, then we'll come down onto the mat unless you're continuing in the chair. So for this one, we're going to try and go a little bit more into the upper back. So as you inhale, bring the arms into a cactus position, palms forward, but draw the elbows back so that the upper chest is going forward. So not pushing the belly forward, keeping the belly in, but opening the sternum, the front of the chest. And then as we exhale, we're going to go forwards, Take the hands onto the thighs and then keep exhaling and fold all the way forwards until you're able to just tuck the chin and momentarily allow the head to hang forwards. As you feel the next inhale coming in, just bring the head back to level, come up using your back muscles, come back up into cactus arms and exhale. Long exhale. You should be feeling the stretch in the lower back at the end of that exhale. You should be feeling the opening in the upper back on the inhale. Just carry on 2 more times at your own pace. When you get to your last one, we're just going to hold the forward bend position for a moment. And if you are able to get the lower ribs onto the thighs, and you might just need to take the knees a little bit wider and hip width apart. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, let the arms hang down the outside of the knees. No effort in the arms, just literally letting them hang. Tuck the chin in, let the weight of the head hang forward. It's still staying, you know, pretty much level with the heart, so it's not a blood pressure issue here. And really enjoy just a couple of breaths in that position where you can feel your spine lengthening with each exhalation. So one of the reasons we always need to think about the correct mix of Sthira and Sukha is that most of our gains in terms of flexibility and space in joints, in this case the space in the spine, will come during a Sukha phase, during a surrender, release, a softening. You can't really muscle yourself into joint space or longer muscles. That Sthira effort is more about strengthening the structures around the joints. It's more about building muscle tone. But when we're trying to soften and lengthen, we need the Sukha, we need the softness. Okay, and then coming back up, and this time breathing in, come back up to your cactus arms, and then as you exhale, rotate to the right, leave the legs and the hips exactly where they are, drop the hands down and turn the head and the shoulders as far around in a clockwise direction as you can. As you breathe in, unwind from the twist, come back up to cactus arms, nice straight spine, exhale around to the other side. Let's go twice more to each side in your own time, twisting on the exhale. You're trying to sit nice and tall and lengthen up on the in-breath, but you might actually feel that you're lengthening up during the exhale as well as you go into that twist, because there's a compression of the abdominal area as we go into a twist, and that is the kind of the support structure of our posture in a very big sense, the pelvis and the abdomen. So it really feels like you're being lifted up by the twist. When you next twist around to the right, we're going to turn the shoulders around as far as we can. Then we're going to keep them there, and we're going to turn the head the other way. And this is just a little bit of a check-in. So if you can only turn the head to here, or forward facing would be really good level of flexibility. If you can go beyond nose pointing forward, and it is, remember, it's where the nose is pointing rather than the eyes can look way round to the left, but that's a cheat. Then we know we've got quite a lot of rotational flexibility in the neck, but often that can be lacking. It's good to know that, because it means that this part of the spine has to do more work during the twist. So you want to try and free the stiffest parts and maintain the areas of rotation that you really need. And then breathing in, bringing those shoulders back and head to front, and breathing out, doing the same. So rotating all the way around to the left. And then when you're ready, turning the head the opposite way to the shoulders. So we've kind of isolated the neck movement there, so you can really check in with how your neck is currently. And lots of reasons why you might feel it's a little bit limited there. Anything from something as simple as muscle tension in the neck and the shoulders to a little bit of arthritis or inflammation in the joints there, depending on age and any injuries you may have had over the years. Okay, let's give the shoulders one last little lift and roll. And then if you're coming down onto the mat, make your way down to lying with the knees in over the chest, with enough support under the back of the head so that the chin is not higher than the forehead. Forehead can be a little bit higher than the chin, that's fine. Take hold of the shins or the thighs and rock from side to side. And if you're staying in the chair, just doing our upper body, our torso circling around the hips, a couple of times in one direction and a couple of times in the other direction. And then those lying on the mat, take the feet down on the floor, just bend the right knee in. Again, hold the back of the thigh, particularly if you've got any knee problems, or the shin, or you could even have a belt around the shin if it was hard to hold this comfortably. Just make sure you don't start to rotate the shoulders in and lift them up towards the ears. We're going to keep them down all the time. And we're going to hold this right knee, and on an exhale, we're going to draw the right knee in. So if you're used to doing this practice, you might want to do a slightly stronger version where you will straighten the leg. So you can do that whether you're in a chair, that's straightening the left leg, whether you're in a chair or on the mat. Exhaling, drawing the knee in. Inhaling, allowing the arms to straighten, shoulders staying relaxed. Just do a couple more. And then we're going to change sides, just coming back to semi-supine if you're on the mat. Remember, you can work here or you can work here. Exhale, coming in. Inhale, opening up. And just once more, and then on an inhale, release that left leg, slide the legs straight, give the legs a little bounce up and down. And if you're seated in the chair, just rocking from side to side, from one side of the hip to the other, and giving the arms a little shake after that work. So we're going to do a little bit of hip opening now. So if you're on the mat, knees are coming in, one hand on each knee, and we're circling as wide as we can. Inhale for half a circle, exhale for the other half. And you remember that in the chair, this is exactly the same, but we do one hip at a time. Inhale. Exhale. Anytime you can reverse the direction of the circles, can be a slightly different sensation. And if you're working from a chair, changing to the other leg now. Fantastic. So we're going to just revisit the main theme of the class of the Sthira and the Sukha. So we're going to do that with a full body stretch. If you have any lower back issues, you can do this with the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and it'll just be an arm stretch all the way down to the base of the pelvis as you inhale. But you're really working hard here. You're stretching the fingers, making the palms as wide as you can, and then exhaling, coming back. Better still, if you're able to work with the legs straight, then as you inhale, you can stretch from the fingertips through the heels, pull the toes back, spread the bones of the feet, and exhale, coming back and finding softness at the end of the out breath. It's working exactly the same in the chair, either just inhaling and exhaling with the arms. But if you want to include the legs, you can just stretch the leg away from you, push the heel away, pull the toes back, doing exactly the same. And those in the chair can alternate right and left leg. If it's too intense on this front thigh quad muscle to have the leg lifted, keep the heel on the floor. So keep going with that for 2 more breaths. And then when you have come back to your relaxed phase, if you're lying on the mat, draw the knees in over the chest, take another little rock from side to side. And similarly, if you're in the chair, just rocking from one side of the pelvis, give the arms and legs a shake to come back to neutral. So we're going to come into our leg stretch by taking the belt or a bathrobe tie or a trouser belt or anything that you're using around the right foot, and keeping the left foot bent definitely for this one. That's going to help keep the back of the pelvis flat on the mat if you're working on the floor. So we'll just get into this in the way that we've been working for the past few weeks. So breathing in, use the belt to draw the knee in towards the chest, and breathing out, coming into the stretch. Trying to get the leg fully straight and vertical, and for the more flexible, the leg can begin to track in. If you've got any hyperextension in the knee, just make sure you're not going past straight. Some people just have a little bit too much stretch in the ligaments at the back of the knee, and if you're in that category, you don't really need that stretch to open that knee and those leg muscles any further. Stretch is exactly the same from the chair. Inhale and exhale. And again, if you want to come a little bit stronger, just raise the leg on that out breath. So as we carry on working the right leg, and we're going to work the right leg for a little bit longer before we balance the body and repeat on the left side. As you work your right leg in this practice, we're trying to find that sweet spot again, that balance of effort and surrender, of steadiness and ease, of Sthira and Sukha. But we are going to use one more little trick to help this right leg lengthen further, particularly useful for those who have very tight hamstrings, maybe from a lot of chair sitting, car driving, that kind of thing. So what we're going to do now is take the right leg into a comfortable stretch, and then really fairly firmly feel like you're holding onto that right foot with the belt. And then what I'm trying to do is bend the knee, but the belt is anchoring the leg in its straight position. So what I want you to feel is that there's actually a slight bit of tension coming into the back of the thigh, even though it's in a stretched out position. And as you try to bend that knee a little bit, you're pulling on the arms, so you're using some shoulder muscles, shoulder blades are pressing down to the floor. As you try to bend the leg and resist it with the belt, you'll feel a little bit of the tummy muscles and actually the pelvic floor kicking in as well. And we're just still breathing. That's another thing. It's very easy to forget to breathe as we do this. So this is the Sthira type stretch for the hamstrings. And then on the next exhale, just let everything soften. So the belt now is just guiding that leg. The heel is extending up into space from the platform, from the foundation of the back of the pelvis. Each exhale is softening the back of the thigh now, and you're experiencing a little bit of lengthening through this right leg as you breathe. Exactly the same in the chair, holding the stretch, trying to bend the knee, using the belt to resist that, and then coming into a softer forward bend with the leg held by the belt. This is going to be a little bit more tiring because the leg is in gravity, so you probably won't hold it so long as those on the mat. And then release that right leg down. And if you're working on the mat, slide both legs straight, give the legs a little bounce. Notice the difference in sensations. Notice whether there's any feeling of length and space in that right leg. And actually, if you really took out a accurate tape measure, you probably find that right leg is a little bit longer than the left leg if you have tight hamstrings. So we better do the other leg right now. So we're going to take the belt round the left leg and just begin again. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, stretch. The best balance that you can find of Sthira and Sukha, of steadiness and ease, as we breathe in and out of this hamstring stretch on the left side. And then coming into the Sthira stretch. So the leg is straight. If you're lying on the mat, the left leg's vertical in the air. You're using the belt. You're pulling on the belt a little bit more, feeling the shoulders, the core, the pelvic floor, all engaging to support you. And then trying to bend the knee a little bit. It's just a subtle movement. You don't actually want the knee to bend. You can feel yourself activating the muscle that we want to lengthen. And as you're doing all of that, you're still breathing steadily. There's still a balance in the breath, even though the body has gone deep into this strengthening Sthira phase of practice. And then on an exhale, allow the leg to soften the arms, still support the leg with the belt, but you're no longer pulling on the leg. Instead, you're inviting it to lengthen, particularly on the exhale, stretching away from the pelvis, finding length and space and softness with each breath. And on the next inhale, letting that left leg bend. You're lying on the mat, sliding both legs straight. If you're in a chair, just give the legs a little jiggle up and down, rock them from side to side, and notice how the legs feel, hopefully feeling really balanced and equal now, but maybe a little bit more spacious. So sometimes we can just deliberately crank up the Sthira side and then use the Sukha soft side to achieve a goal, in this case, a feeling of space in the back of the legs. So we're going to counterpose by drawing the knees in over the chest, taking another little rock from side to side, or just rock from side to side in the chair. And then we're going to come into cat and dog and come up to standing. So if you're working on the mat, you'll either be padding the knees and placing the hands palm width in front of the shoulders, knees hip width apart, and beginning to work in your cat, inhaling and exhaling. But remembering that any wrist or shoulder issues, you can use the seat of your chair to support you. And that was wrist and shoulder issues, any knee issues, holding the back of the chair and actually working from standing. If you're remaining in the chair, breathing in, slide the hands up towards the hips, draw the shoulders back, breathing out, chin towards chest, navel towards spine, rounding the back. Cat should be a real sense of softness and space coming into the whole of the spine. So there's a little bit more Sukha than Sthira in it, I would say. And allowing the spine to move as one, not feeling that it's just the lower back mainly working or just the neck. The whole of the spine is moving. And then as a transition between the cat and the dog, we're going to do a little lunge pose. As I'm in the chair, I'm just going to quickly show this. So we're going to take the right foot to the center and the left foot can just come off to the side. Or for those who have the right kind of chair, you can take the leg around to the side of the chair there a little bit to get a little bit more opening in the hip. If you're working on the floor, you're going to keep with the padding and step the right leg forwards and rest the hands on the thigh. Better still, as long as the chair is really stable, chair up against the wall is ideal. You can do this lunge using the chair and just eliminate that weight bearing through the knee, which is never particularly helpful. Try to breathe really steadily here and use the arms to support the spine in an upright position, or even feel like you're beginning to come into a little bit of back bend. So shoulders drawing back and down, chest is open, and the stretch is being felt through the front of the body here. You can see there's quite a big curve through the side of the body in which the leg is going back. And then release the right leg. Take your time coming into left-sided version of that pose in a way that is going to work for you. There's a little bit of balance here and you don't want anything slippy underfoot. If you need to be near a wall and grab hold of something, that's absolutely fine. And then releasing and giving the legs a little shake. And then to come into downward dog, if you want to go down and do it on the mat in the traditional way, that's fine. If there's nothing wrong with the shoulders or the wrists. If you're already standing, you might just want to use the back of the chair and take that element out and still get all the same work through the spine, through the legs. And if you're working in the chair, just briefly holding with one leg and then coming onto the other side. Lovely. So just a couple more breaths in downward dog if you're still working. And if you've already released, then just take a moment to either, if you're in a chair, just sit quietly for a moment. And if you're If you've been using the back of the chair, just come up to standing, because we're coming up to standing next for those who can. And we're going to work into a little bit of Warrior 1 and Warrior 2. So we'll start off standing with the feet just slightly hip width apart. If you're working in a chair, it's still helpful to take those feet a little bit wider apart. And then on an inhale, you're going to allow the arms to rotate outwards from the shoulders. You're going to sweep the arms up overhead on in-breath. When the palms touch, it will cue your exhale, and you draw the palms down through the center of the body. Feel really connected to your breath, to the space that this practice creates in the body, and to a feeling of Sthira and Sukha being balanced, a bit more Sthira in the legs as they provide that steady foundation for the upper body to have a lot of softness and ease, particularly in the shoulders. So next time you breathe in, we're going to lift the toes. Lift them as high as you can, separate them a little bit. That'll feel some muscles that haven't been used for a while, perhaps in the feet, that are important for your arches. Again, with the toes, inhale, lift them up. When this practice is working really well, and you do it from the chair as well, you almost feel like you're balancing on 3 points, which is the heel and the 2 pads of the toe behind the big toe and towards the little toe. And once more. And then allow the toes to rest down, and this time looking to hover the heels slightly as we raise the arms, and to sink the heels back down to the earth as we breathe out. This is a really simple balance. If you're finding that you're a little bit wobbly even in this one, just make a note of that. You could practice this balance at various times during the day. Also might mean you want to position yourself near the wall or a chair when we do a slightly more challenging balance in a few minutes time. Next time you exhale, release the heels down. Give the arms and legs a little bit of a shake. And then with the feet slightly wider and hip width apart, we're going to step forward the right leg. So you want this configuration. Don't have the feet on a tightrope. Feel like your feet are making a narrow gauge railway. Notice that back foot is not turning out. We're keeping the toes almost facing forwards. You can turn them out just a little bit, but only a centimetre or 2. So the leg is straight at this point. And then as we breathe in, we're going to bend the knee and just take it over the ankle. And it's that same cactus arms movement, drawing the shoulders back, opening the chest. And as you exhale, straightening the leg. Just working on this right side first of all. And then if you want to make that a little bit stronger, so just exaggerating the Sthira side, if that's enough for you, just stay with that practice. But you're going to creep the foot forward, the right foot, the leading foot, and we're going to inhale, allow this right knee to bend, and then we're going to hold the position. You should be feeling quite a significant but not too intense stretch through the left calf muscle and the left Achilles as you begin to really explore the boundaries of strength and steadiness and intention here. One more breath. And then release the arms down and just come out about 15%. So just slightly shorten the stance and bend the right knee again. And this time try to find a much more easeful expression of this pose. Just push a little bit, push the ingredient of Sthira a little bit more deeply than usual, and then we back off, kind of zoom in and zoom out and find a different experience of the balance between the two, and realizing that this mix is dynamic, is shifting in every posture and in the way that we experience our body on different days, different weeks. And then on an inhale, straightening the right leg, stepping the legs together and giving the legs a little shake. Then we're going to come into that on the left side. So if you're working in the chair, just taking the right foot out to the side. It's going to be much more an upper body practice. If you are working in the chair, breath and movement. So if you need to be in a chair for an injury, then continue in the chair. But if you could come up and work a little bit with the support of a chair or a wall and just a very subtle expression of that, more of a Sukha expression. This is extraordinarily good. The Sthira work that we're doing in Warrior One is extraordinarily good for building the strength and steadiness from the hips down, through the legs, through the feet. Inhaling, bending the left leg, exhaling, straightening the leg. And then pausing for a moment, finding that stronger version of the same pose that you're going to hold. An exploration of Sthira. Because we're never going to allow ourselves to lose control of the breath, there's always going to be the balance in the breath. We know we've gone too far if the breath begins to disintegrate. So smooth flowing breathing, Sthira and Sukha in the breath, a little bit more Sthira in the posture, experiencing that strength, experiencing that stretch. And then when you're ready, just coming out of the pose 15% and then coming back in. Softening the physical practice just enough to find that middle way, that blend of Sthira and Sukha. And then release release from the pose. If you're standing, just come back to standing, give the legs a little shake. And working from a chair, again, just circling around with the upper body. And then we're going to come into just 2 rounds of sun salutations tonight. Remember, these are exactly the same whether you're in a chair or standing up. So if you're standing, feet hip width apart, and then breathing in, opening the chest, cactus arms again. Exhale, bending the knees, reaching for the thighs, forward fold. Inhale, coming halfway up. Exhale, going a little deeper. Inhale, flattening the back, coming up. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Breathing in, reaching up. And exhale, side stretch to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, hands to heart. Breathing in, reaching up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands to heart. Just work at your own pace for the second one. And when you've completed 2, just taking a moment to check in with yourself. On our last practice before our closing pose and relaxation is going to be just a little bit of balance work. So again, very hard to work on balance from a chair. So if you're able to come out of the chair, use the back of a chair or a wall for support, then you'll be doing that. And we're going to just come into a very easy heron pose, breathing in, extending the arms, breathing out, arms down. And as you breathe in, just softening the knee of alternate legs. So you're beginning to lift the heel and come into balance. So if you're holding the wall, you just do one arm, and then you might be able to come into the slightly fuller expression of this pose of bringing the knee up. Keeping everything in balance in this practice. Steadiness and ease in the body and in the breath. once more to each side in your own time. And then coming back to center. And moving down onto the mat, if you're working on the mat, into your restorative inversion. So for this one, we have the head on the blanket. If possible, a yoga block under the hips, but that's not strictly necessary if you don't have one to hand. Rest the lower legs on a chair. And just feel the whole of the body is in this slight incline from the heart down to the feet, allowing a different relationship between your circulatory system and gravity and the beneficial effects of that. And if you're working in a chair, just resting the feet up on a second chair will have a similar effect. If you are comfortable closing the eyes, just let the eyes softly close or have a soft gaze up towards the ceiling. And then in the next breath or two, making a transition to a posture that's going to be comfortable for you to relax in, which could be legs straight, head supported. You might want a blanket over you or an extra layer of clothing. If you need to stay with the knees bent for any lower back issues, or even rest on your side for this relaxation, that's fine as well. If you're in a chair, unless the chair's got sides and you're well supported, treat the relaxation as a concentration and meditation practice. You don't want to nod off if you're not securely seated. We're going to just continue to explore our theme in this relaxation in a very simple way. It's a tense and release relaxation, but we'll just exaggerate the tension in different parts of the body and hold that tensing for 3 whole inhales and exhales, and then we'll try to soften the same area of the body for 3 really light, soft, relaxing breaths. If you're doing this seated and it's difficult to tense, say the whole of the leg, just tense the foot or any part of the leg that you can, just adapt the relaxation to suit your pose. Again, eyes are closed or a soft gaze up to the ceiling or down to the floor if you're in a chair. We'll take our awareness first to the whole of the right leg. And as you breathe in, begin to tense the whole of the right leg. So feel as if you are activating the foot, pulling the toes back, spreading the toes, engaging the calf muscles, engaging the front thigh quad muscle, engaging the hamstrings as well, feeling as if all the muscles of the whole of the right leg are activating and drawing in closer to the bones of the leg as you breathe. And then as you exhale, allow the right leg to begin to soften. And on the next exhale, allow the right leg to soften a little bit more. And on the third exhale, allow the right leg to soften and release. as much as you can. Notice the sensations in the right leg. And now take your awareness to the whole of the left leg, and as you begin to breathe in, tense the whole of the left leg. Keep tensing as you breathe in for a second time. Engage all of the leg muscles. Draw the muscles close to the bones of the leg. Inhaling one more, tensing. And as you exhale, begin to soften the muscles of the left leg. Exhaling again, soften a little bit more. And on your third exhale, allow the whole of the left leg to soften and release. Notice all the sensations in the left leg. Move your awareness up to the pelvis. And as you breathe in, begin to gather all the muscles around the pelvis. Activate the glutes, pull up the pelvic floor, draw in the lower abdominal muscles. Everything is tightening around the pelvis as you engage the muscles and almost give your own pelvis a hug with your own muscles in and around the pelvis. As you breathe in for a third time, reaching that maximum, drawing in, and then as you exhale, begin to soften. As you exhale, soften again. And as you exhale for the third time, feel all the muscles around the pelvis soften. Feel the weight of the pelvis sinking down towards the floor. And notice all the sensations in and around the pelvis. Bring your awareness to the chest, the rib cage, right up to the shoulders. And as you breathe in, widen. And you're not just widening and stretching the muscles of the rib cage, you're engaging the pecs. You're feeling the shoulder blades press down into the floor behind you if you're lying on your back. You're feeling all the muscles of the torso engage, and that engagement increasing as you breathe for a second time and breathe in for a third time. And then as you exhale, begin to soften the muscles of the chest. As you exhale again, soften them further. And as you exhale for a third time, feel the weight of the back ribs sinking down to the floor, the shoulder blades sinking down to the earth, the shoulders softening and releasing. Notice all the sensations in the chest and the shoulders. Awareness to the whole of the right arm. Just extend that arm away from you. Spread the fingers. Tense the muscles of the arm. Imagine them all moving in closer towards the bones of the arm. As you breathe for a second time, tense a little bit more. As you inhale again, tense a little bit more. And then exhale, begin the process of softening and softening and softening until by the third exhale, the whole of the right arm is soft and released. Notice the sensations in the right arm. Awareness to the left arm, extend, spread the fingers, begin to tense the whole of the left arm as you breathe in. As you breathe in again, tense a little bit more, and tense a little bit more. And exhale. Begin to release into Sukha, into softness. Exhale, a little more softness. And third exhale, allow the left arm to soften and release completely. Notice the sensations in the left arm. And then bring awareness to the neck and the head. And as you breathe in, slightly tuck the chin in and actively stretch the crown of the head away from the shoulders, drawing the shoulders in the opposite direction down towards the hips. Lengthen the back of the neck. At the same time, just squeeze the eyes, tighten the jaw slightly. And then as you begin to exhale, soften the jaw, soften the eyes, the forehead, the cheeks, the scalp, the back of the head, the neck. Allow the whole of the head to move towards softness and release. Notice the sensations in the neck, the head, the face. Notice the sensations in the whole of your body, and allow the whole of your body to be soft and released. And now let your breath deepen and reconnect to the body. Move the fingers, wriggle the toes, stretch in any way that feels good. If you are lying on the mat, bend the knees, roll onto your side. And we're going to come back up to sitting, can be on a chair or sitting on the mat, anywhere where the spine is upright. We're going to close the class with just a couple of minutes of our final breathing practice. We're going to be breathing in and out through the nose. It's not a deep breath, but it's not the very light breath. It's for you to find that balance between effort and release in your own breath. What you do want to feel is that the breath is low, that as you draw the breath in through the nostrils, it travels all the way down to the base of the lungs, that you are activating the diaphragm, that the tummy is gently moving out as you breathe in and gently moving back as you breathe out. Eyes can be closed or downcast. Feel as if this breath is of fine quality. Those qualities of smoothness and flow, of easy transition between inhale and exhale. And at the end of your exhale, you can really feel the fullness, the completeness of that out-breath, and notice that little moment of stillness before the next inhalation arises. And at the end of the next exhale, just take a moment, keeping the eyes closed, to notice exactly how you feel. Notice what you feel in your body. Notice the quality of mindfulness and the steadiness or otherwise of your mind. And then when you're ready, blinking open the eyes. Thanks for practicing with me once again.